I have recorded this quite a few times, but if you are looking for a story on synchronicities, ending up in the right place at the right time, receiving confirmation from divine forces that you are on the right path, this is a story for you. So probably about a week into my Project Me being a determination, a declaration of like, I will choose myself. I will choose myself time and time again, because I need to. I need to live life aligned with myself, and I need to be doing the things that will help me feel as though that is true, right? That's what Project Me is. And at this point in the journey, right, there's a few important pieces of information that I absolutely have to include. I'm going to try to get through it fast. One, I recently experienced a death in my family, and that death was actually something that not only kind of enhanced the spiritual nature of my journey, but specifically, and this is something that a lot of times, if you're someone who's spiritual, doesn't necessarily always mesh well together, but it's just the way that my beliefs are, brought me a little bit closer to God and brought me into more acceptance of God in the way that I can understand God. Saying that as someone who has struggled with religion, has struggled with monotheistic religion, right? Those two things, being spiritual and accepting and believing God, they can coexist, right? And they coexist here in this story. Just want to make that clear. Secondly, because of the spiritual nature, right? And also, I've been doing the Artist Way. I was in week 1 of the Artist Way, and if you haven't read that, or if you haven't looked into that, that book does have a lot of spiritual as well as God-related content, God-related, I should say, discussion. So there's just a lot going on, and I'm on this soul-searching journey. I'm across the country, and I am just trying to live life and live well and enjoy my time on this little road trip, right? And at this point in life, right, I was making content, and most of my content was kind of circled around just like positivity. And I had recently started this like coffee series. I'm obsessed with coffee. I'm obsessed with third places. I'm obsessed with coffee culture, and I have a unique interest. I literally, at this point, right, I literally want to start my own coffee shop, and that's kind of all key information here, right? So I'm at the coffee shop. I'm doing my little videos. Super, super cute area, right? This coffee shop, Evermore Roasters, is the coffee shop that actually is the basis for what I call, and I will reference many times in the future, the community coffee of choice theory, right? Because Burlington, New Jersey, I don't know about you, like I said, I'm from the West Coast. I had no idea that that place existed, right? It's this historic area in New Jersey, and small area, at least to me it seems like a small area, and it has like no coffee shops. Like, there was one spot, and this one spot was the place that I was going. So naturally speaking, like, I was expecting that it was going to be quiet, right? And so I walk in, right, and I at this point developed my coffee shop, my community coffee of choice theory, and I walk in, and it is so loud. Like, I open the door into like loudness, and I literally make eye contact with a girl who's sitting at a table facing the door, and like she sees my jaw drop, because I'm like, I was not expecting it to be like bumping like this. Like, there's so many people here. So I'm like, okay, that's super interesting. And the coffee shop vibe, like, I loved it. It gave off like this Route 66 kind of like rustic but like refined like speakeasy vibe, right? And I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the space. It was very open. It was very nice. Lots of natural light. Lots of people there working, hanging out, talking, having business meetings. Like, it was very, very nice. And on this beautiful waterfront. Like, go check out the video. It was gorgeous, right? I get my coffee, and I'm waiting for my coffee, right? And I'm like having this internal debate, right? Because if you go to my page, look at one of my pinned videos, it's a interview I had with the owner of Love You Latte in Glendale, California. And since I did that interview, right, I not only had that woman, she is such a gem. She kind of poured into me that continued belief of like, if you want to go for it, you go for it and you do it, right? In terms of opening up my own coffee shop. Also, though, it was something I really enjoyed doing. I've always been a natural conversationalist. I've always really enjoyed talking to people. I've always been really good at bringing people's personalities out of them. And I wanted to continue to make content like that from the second that I did that first video. From that first video, which I posted in April, and I actually had done like 2 weeks earlier, right? I had not yet done another video or another interview, and I had been looking to do one. So at this point, I'm standing there waiting for my coffee, and I'm thinking like, hey, like I need to do this interview, and I need to figure out who owns this coffee shop, because this is a unique spot. I want to talk to the owners of this spot. And I'm like full of nerves, and I'm like, oh, like I'm literally probably never gonna be here again. I need to figure out like who to ask about this, right? And as I'm having this internal debate, a guy comes up to me, right? And I'm not a super approachable person. I'm in a long-term, very, very solid relationship. Like, it's not a situation I find myself in often, but I'm not a bitch. Okay. So like I tend to try to read people for their energies, and try to like, again, also open myself up to the world and accept kind of blessings, I guess you could say, that come in different forms, right? Try to be just kinder and more like gentler on the world and less guarded, as a woman can be. And so this guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, excuse me? And I'm like, hi. And he's like, I am so sorry, but I have a really, really weird question. And I'm like, oh man. I'm like, okay, shoot. And he's like, are you a data analyst? And like, it's a weird fucking question, right? Like, that's a random ass question to ask. But what's funny about it is that one of the reasons why I want to start my own coffee shop is because I have years of experience in business management. And in business management, you have to work with data. You have to be able to understand data to be able to make decisions for your business to profit, right? And it's a natural part of my job. And as I've grown and as time has gone on, my abilities in that space have continued to grow and grow and grow, right? So I'm like, kind of laugh, because I'm like, that's a kind of like, that's the message in itself. You can do this shit, right? So that's the message in itself, right? And I like kind of tell him, like, I'm like, you know, it's so funny you say that. I was like, no, like I don't do business. I don't get paid to be a data analyst, but like I do it as part of my job, right? And then what he says is like really fucking weird, right? He's like, yeah, he's like, I'm just so sorry. He's like, I know it's a really weird question, but like, he like is like internally fighting demons to tell me this, right? He's like, God told me to like talk to you and ask you that. Right? And like I said, like I'm on a journey. Like I am fully immersed in a spiritual like journey, spiritual awakening, like experience at this point, right? And as I had said, like someone in my family recently passed, and part of this journey was like tied to that, right? So in my head, I'm like, right, this isn't the first time in my life that I've had spiritual experiences that bring me synchronicities that like are far too beyond coincidental for them to not be divine work. So like it isn't something that like I'm like spinning like, is that possible? Like, oh no, it's just coincidence. Like for me, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a sign. That is God speaking to me, right? But I'm like, okay, like I know I can start the coffee shop, right? But beyond that, right, what's funny is that person and I actually ended up working at the same company. He ends up inviting us to church, and that's kind of that, right? But what really makes this series, like this entire story kind of just interesting is, again, I'm on this path, and I'm asking for, like, on this path of, like, open up doorways and opportunities for me. Open me up to the world, and I'm actively seeking connection in the world. Like, that is a huge theme across Project Me. Even though it's about me, like, for me, part of my story, part of my purpose, part of the reason why I'm going in the direction that I am, part of the reason why I want to open a coffee shop is because I believe in the power of connection, right? So that all happens, and I'm like, finish the conversation, I finish my drink, and I'm like, dude, I'm talking to myself now. I'm like, hey girl, you need to go ask someone how you can interview the owners. Like, you have to fucking do it now, because you're not gonna have that entire experience of someone feeling like they're asking you the wildest question, but they have this urge within them to have to ask you, and not take that as a sign to go and be outgoing and just get over your nerves and go for it yourself too, because you're here for a purpose too. You're here to go do that interview, right? So the whole time that like I was in the shop, there was like a little corner full of like staff, kind of like staff and like people who knew the staff in like kind of area, right? And they were all kind of hanging out, and they were intimidating. I don't know, they were kind of intimidating to me. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But at a certain point, like, most of them leave except for one girl, right? And I'm about to leave, and I'm literally lingering because I'm like, I will not allow myself to leave now without taking that momentum with me and applying it to like what I'm here for. And so I go up to the girl and I start asking her these questions of like, hey, like, I'm so sorry. It just kind of seems like you are familiar with this place and I'm just trying to get more information about it. I ask her like, hey, do you know the owners? Like, are they local? How long has this business been here? Things like that, right? And she ends up asking me like why. And you can see that she's kind of like thinking in her own brain. She's kind of thinking in her own brain, like, and analyzing the situation. I don't know what she's thinking, but she ends up asking me why. And I tell her like, oh, like, I have been doing this business, like, I'm really interested in opening my own coffee shop one day, and I have been doing a series for TikTok interviewing coffee shop owners. And she like laughs and she tells me like, you know what's so crazy is, and so funny about you saying that, is the fact that like I'm actually gonna go interview the coffee shop owners, like this store's owners, in an hour for my podcast. Turns out that girl, who now is in my phone, like, her and I are talking, we're planning to do content together in the future, actually moved there from where I'm from a couple years ago after living where I'm from for like 10 years. And like, we went and got coffee together, had like a phenomenal time. I'm telling you, like, we're gonna make content together in the future. But at that moment, it was like, whoa, like, that is pure alignment. If I could have no better sign, I could have no better experience to tell me, like, continue on the journey that you're on, like, continue in the direction that you're going in, right? No better confirmation of like, the doors are opening for you, right? And continue to do the things that you're doing, continue to accept the blessings and the signs and the confirmations that are on your path, because they're there for a reason. Like, you're not mistaken in that. Yeah, it was pretty incredible, to be honest. Like, I'm thinking about it now, and it's a few weeks later. Honestly, it's like more than a month later, and I'm still like so like crazy, like almost shocked at like just like the way that it all went down, and the feeling of like, dude, I was supposed to be there. Like, I didn't even end up interviewing those coffee shop owners. I had an even better experience. Like, this is not the end of the Burlington, New Jersey story. This was one little piece of like light, of like just literally light. Like, step here, come here, you be on this path, be here. Like, you're here for a reason. So if you needed a sign, and if you're here all the way at the end of this video, and you're on your own path and you need it, like, let this be your sign. Let this be your piece of light to keep going and like carry on the momentum. All right, this better have recorded.